Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we're going to be talking about a new Passimian card. Though this is a new Passimian card that actually does a lot to help the old Passimian card. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a Passimian party. Now, it is a fighting Pokemon. That means that it is hitting weakness against Zoroark, which is huge at the moment. And it is also hitting weakness against Drampa, which is quite nice. But being a fighting Pokemon means it gets some extra tricks. You get Brooklet Hill, allows you to search out basic Pokemon. Well, if they're fighting or water, which Passimian is. Fighting specifically, so we're good. You get Strong Energy, which is nice. You won't be using it, but it's still good. And you can use Regirock here, so you can do an extra 10 damage. Now, you will be struggling for bench space because you need 4 Passimian out at a time. And also, it's just a really high retreater. It might not be the best idea, but you do get Regirock if you want to do that extra 10 damage. 110 HP is fine because you're either going to be sitting on the bench or getting one hit KO'd anyway. It's not particularly high, but it doesn't need to be. And weakness to Psychic. Garbona's still a slight issue, but it's seeing a lot less play than it was, so maybe not as bad as it would have been a couple of months ago. One retreat, it's okay. It's a bench sitter. Free retreat would be better, but let's not be greedy here. Now, what I really like about Passimian is the ability. And it says that as long as Passimian is on your bench, your Passimian's attacks do 30 more to the active evolved Pokemon. Good news is, all Passimian do an extra 30. Bad news is, only to evolved Pokemon. Good news, it stacks. So if you've got 2 Passimian on the bench, then your Passimian are doing an extra 60 damage to the active. Now, when I say it stacks, we're obviously going to need to wait for an official translation. We don't have one of those yet. Hopefully, we'll get one in the near future. But as with all of these cards, they are subject to change when an official translation comes around. Now, although you're only doing more damage to evolved Pokemon, we are in a very evolution-heavy format at the moment. Zoroark's big. Golisopod's big. The only real basic Pokemon that are seeing a lot of play at the moment are Volcanion, and then Tapu Bulu, but it's not seeing that much play, and then obviously just Tapu Lele. But that's in every deck, and it's not their main attacker. I suppose Darkrai could always see a little bit of a comeback, but, you know, it's Darkrai. It's going to be KO'd because it's weak anyway. So, the ability's good here, but we're going to get to the attack on this Passimian in a minute. It's not particularly inspiring. So we need to look at this ability in the context of the existing Passimian, with which we've been playing around for a while. He's had some times that it's been good, but it's fallen out of favour. For a double colourless energy team play, 10 damage plus 30 more for each of your benched Passimian. That's pretty good. So if we look at the damage done just by Sun and Moon Passimian, 1 on the bench 40 damage, 2 on the bench 70, 3 on the bench 100, and 4 on the bench 130. Now when I say 4 on the bench, we've got to be using Mew here. Mew from Fates Collide can copy the attack of Passimian, and then you can have 4 Passimian on the bench and do 130. This means you're not hitting fighting weakness, but you are hitting psychic weakness against stuff like Espeon, which is pretty nice. So you're hitting another weakness. So the thing that sucks, and I played quite a lot of Passimian myself, you're not really staying around very long with Mew. Mew is kind of annoying because the 50 HP really is pitifully low. So pretty much anything, like an Espeon with 1 energy gets a KO on you. It's kind of annoying. I don't love it, but it's a way to get up to 130, and it's a way to hit a different weakness. Now let's do the same calculations if we've got 2 of this new Passimian on the bench. Now, the reason I say 2 is because I think we're looking at a 2-2 split. We'll go into that in a moment. 1 Passimian on the bench, assuming that it is the new Passimian, 70 damage. 10 plus the 30 for the Passimian on the bench plus the 30 for the ability. 2 Passimian on the bench, assuming they are both the ability 1, you're doing 130. 3 Passimian on the bench, 1 regular, 2 ability, 160 damage. If there's 4 on the bench, you're only doing 130 because you've got to be attacking with a Mew. Remember that Passimian only adds damage when you're attacking with Passimian, not when you're attacking with Mew. This is going to get confusing if you play this deck because you're going to be so used to Passimian allowing Passimian to do extra damage. There will be games where you forget that he doesn't allow Mew to do extra damage. Bear that in mind, please. So if you've got 4 Passimian out, 1 in the active, 2 of the ability 1 and 1 of the regular on the bench, you're hitting 160. At a choice band, you're hitting 190, but remember this is only against evolved Pokemon. So you wouldn't actually be hitting 190 against Turtonator and Buzzwole and taking them out, because you wouldn't get the extra 60, so you'd only be hitting 100 damage. 130 with a choice band, it wouldn't be enough, you wouldn't get the KO. But 190 is pretty good going. 160 will KO basically any non-GX evolved Pokemon. Something like a Greninja, yeah, you're getting a nice one-hit KO on a Greninja fairly easily, because you're doing 160 to evolve Pokemon. That's nice. And, you know, one more quick mention that, Zoroark is weak here. Zoroark is getting KO'd very, very easily because of the weakness. You could always add a Professor Kukui here and do 210, KOing something like a Golisopod, which would be cool, but I would say it would be quite unlikely to be able to hit that all of the time. Now, in terms of the Passimian here, you want a mixture. You want to go 2-2. 2 of the Sun and Moon, 2 of the new one, because you can only have 4 Passimian in a particular deck. Now, it's going to be awkward at times getting your attacker back, but you can always use Mew when you're not needing to hit for fighting weakness. You can't go for one of either of the Passimian, because then if that one is prized, you're in a terrible position. And you really need 2 of the ability Passimian in order to hit up to the bigger numbers here, and you really can hit some good numbers here. You're going to be 1-hit KOing basically any non-GX, and 2-hit KOing any GX, unless you're hitting for weakness, in which case it'll be a 1-hit KO. Either way, you're going to be hitting some really nice numbers here. Like some super nice numbers. You could just go for one of the ability 1 here, so that you're hitting for 130, assuming you got 3 Passimian out. And then you're getting stuff like Greninja and the non-GXs, but the single copy could be prized, and then you're really stuck at 130. It's not something I would heartily recommend. 2-2 is the way to go here. It makes the old Passimian from Sun and Moon so much better. You used to really be maxing out at 100 damage with Passimian, or 130 on a 50 HP Mew. You're now hitting 160 on a non-GX and 190 on a GX, as long as they're evolved, choice band, and you've got more HP and a bit more staying power than if you were relying on Mew. I'm not saying this ability is going to make Passimian from Sun and Moon amazing, but I am saying it makes it so much better. Now, the attack here is nothing to write home about. Fighting in a colourless energy, 40 damage, not affected by resistance. Whoop-de-doo, ladies and gentlemen. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, it's not particularly good. There is a bunch of stuff that resists fighting, stuff like Ho-Oh and Celesteela. Basically, any Pokemon that's flying type in the game will resist your fighting type attacks. But you're doing 40 damage. I did find something that would be KO'd by this. Fletchling from Generations. If you find anyone that's too silly to play the 50 HP Fletchling, you can KO the 40 HP Fletchling. Yeah, this is a Pokemon we play for the ability, not the attack. And honestly, this is a Pokemon that does not exist on its own. This Passimian alone does very, very little to nothing. But when you combine it with the Sun and Moon Passimian, I can't tell you exactly why the old one fell out of favour, but I can tell you that the number one theory, and I feel very strongly about this, it wasn't hitting the numbers. So, you know, it's all about the numbers. You're not hitting the numbers, you can't play it. This hits more numbers. If you were against something like a Greninja before, well, what are you going to do? They're taking prizes, you're not getting a one-hit KO. Now you are, it's a lot better. I am giving this Passimian between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. Yeah, playing a mixture of 2 Passimians is going to be a bit awkward. Maybe it's still not getting the huge KOs you need, but it's a non-GX Pokemon for a single energy attachment. It's got to be worth a test. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this new Passimian. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc., you can do so by going to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.